Online with Amr The Internet Guy. Stream it today on your favorite podcast platforms. This podcast focuses on entrepreneurs and business owners, helping them become more successful in conducting their business on the web without being stuck with technology.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Online. So today is a little bit different. I'm interviewing two entrepreneurs, not just one. And this specific episode is dedicated to solo business owners and entrepreneurs who have been working very hard during this year. 2020 was like no other, and the challenges that we all faced in 2020 were unseen before. So in this specific episode, we don't just discuss business, technology, and websites, but we also discuss co-working, self-care, setting boundaries and healthy habits for your success, and keeping your sanity during this year that is full of challenges. So without further ado, let's meet Kaylin Lactin Erin Scarlett. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Online. I have with me Erin Scarlett here and Kaylin Lactin. Hello.
Hey. Hi.
How's it going?
Good. Long time no see.
Yeah. It's been a couple of weeks. Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes. So, Kaylin.
Yes.
I like the, hang on, let me try and remember. Flourish Your Wings branding. So I would like you to actually just introduce yourself and then tell the audience what you do and what is the Flourish Your Wings.
Okay. Well, my name is Kaylin Lactin, and I'm a certified life coach. I work with boundaries, self-care, literally anything life kind of throws at you. I'm also trauma informed, so I can work with people who've experienced trauma, but not necessarily are inside their trauma at that moment. And in about a year, I'll also be a registered counselor as well. So it's a progress. It's moving. And I'm also doing workshops and on self-care and artistic expression. And I am an artist, so I'm offering creative practice in my practice,
Nice.
which is a different version of art therapy, because I don't call myself an art therapist, but I will include art inside our session. So yeah, and with Flourish Your Wings, that came, like, the logo itself, it just, wings means freedom. Yeah, I thought a little bit more about it and kind of, it resonated with me, and so, yeah.
Good, yeah. It usually when you see the word wings, you either think of birds or travel.
Yeah.
Now we can't have travel, so let's think of birds.
Yeah, I recently actually just updated my logo, and I feel like it looks more representative of of what I'm wanting to bring forward in my practice, and the freedom that people can have of, to be able to change and to flourish and to just explore new things in life and to not be held back. So, yeah.
Perfect. And you have a session coming up on self-care, like not this Saturday, the Saturday. Well, I don't know. What date would that Saturday
November
be?
24th.
Yeah, perfect.
No, wait.
Thank you. Because I don't know when I'll put this online, but it has
November
to be
20
before
November 21st. Sorry.
November 21st.
November 21st.
It's about self-care. I'm going to ask you in like 5-10 minutes about self-care.
Okay.
But let's just get Erin to introduce herself as well.
I'm Erin. I'm the co-owner of the Fountainhead Network Co-working and Media Space.
Where is that?
Right next to Coquitlam Center. It's a family-run startup between my husband, my mom, and I. And it's basically a startup to help other startups and entrepreneurs in the area. We want them to succeed. We want, especially during this hard time, we want to create a space where they can afford, where they don't have to buy hydro, pay for hydro, have all the resources available for them. We can give them a free business address, not free business address. we can give them a business address.
A business address. Yeah, it's not free, but yeah, it's a business address. No, you meant virtual, right? Because there's like a virtual membership.
Yes, we have
You have types of membership.
Yeah, we have free virtual network access, and we're actually
And that's just for networking.
yes,
Okay.
just for networking.
And then the next one is a virtual membership.
Yes, we have a virtual membership as well. That one's $25 a month, and that actually gives you one free day pass a month as well. So you can
Come and work from here.
come and work from here. And that's basically the same price as a day pass would be anyway. But then you have an official TFN membership and profile here. So, and that gives you networking and promotion as well. So we do our member mention Mondays. And yeah.
Nice. And this is where we are, guys. Like this, we are.
Yeah, we're
Where is that?
in the podcast studio
yeah,
right
we're
now.
in the podcast studio. So there's a
TFN.
podcast studio. There's a big meeting room. I think there might be another smaller meeting room coming up at some point.
Yes, I think we're going to introduce another meeting room. We were leaving it open for private office for COVID, but the members here, I think, are really enjoying the open layout. Hot desks have been doing really well for us, and I think everybody still likes to connect and
Yeah, we love
collaborate
them.
and have a safe space. So
There's a couple of new couches for those of you who are doing like the most expensive one that has unlimited, so you can live here. No,
no living here.
just kidding. There's no shower.
No stinky people, please.
And yeah, the cities, Port Coquitlam and Coquitlam can make up the mind if Westwood Street is Coquitlam or Poco. So sometimes you can say we're in Coquitlam or we're in Port Coquitlam, depends.
Yeah, it depends on how you search us. If you search us by our postal code, we are Port Coquitlam. But if you search us by our address, Google will tell you we're in Coquitlam.
Or
So-
maybe if you use the front entrance, you're in Coquitlam, and then if you use the dedicated back entrance,
the
you're in
private members
Poco,
entrance.
the private
Yeah.
members.
Then you're in Poco.
So yeah, it's a great place actually, to work kid free. So for those of you who are like me, who work from home most of the time, when your kids have, a day off from school and they want to be making noise at the house, or when you have meetings or you want to record a podcast or, Zoom from a place that is quieter and nicer, come over here. You'll love it. There's a big kitchen as well, which is one of the features. It's a huge kitchen, so you can sit and eat and watch TV if you like.
Have donaires from Uncle Mo's.
Have donuts, from downstairs, which is what we're gonna do right after. What I'm gonna do. We should have brought in the pizza. Call it Pizza and Podcast. The table is big enough.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Actually, that's something our producer, Mike, has had lined up a few times. But
Yeah, Pizza and Podcast, PMP.
PNP.
PMP. So perfect. This brings me back to self-care. Because I forgot to have lunch today. Am I doing bad in my self-care?
Self-care is unique to everyone, and nutritional wise, I myself is something that I struggle with, and food is an essential part. It's our nourishment. It gives us energy, and it provides the substance to get us through our day. And everyone's body and metabolism is so different. And so if you had a late breakfast, you could have a late lunch, or it depends on you, right? So if you are like diabetic or there's some health issues, then I wouldn't recommend like missing a meal. But if it's something that's works for you, then that's what works for you. And that's something that I really try to say, especially in my Instagram or Facebook page, is that everyone is unique and everyone is different, and everyone practices self-care in their own way. Whether that's binge watching a show on Netflix or that's going for a walk in nature. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
And so
I'm laughing because this is why my wife usually tells me off for binge watching, but that's sometimes my getaway from all these pressures of work and life in general. I just like sit and watch one of my favorite shows, and before you know it, you've watched 4 episodes and it's too late.
Yeah, Netflix and reading is good for just a little bit of escapism, right?
yeah. Yes, and that's the thing. It's turning off that your mind and what helps you rejuvenate and to be to be a great you.
What can we do to raise the awareness about this? Because, being a solo entrepreneur, I'm kind of assuming that almost every solo entrepreneur goes through the same thing. Like sometimes now with COVID and most people are forced to work from home, the lines between work and personal life have been blurred.
Mm,
So how can we bring it to the forefront of
That's a great
people's thinking?
question. And that's something I'm gonna focus on also with the Link and Learn that I'm doing in the next couple weeks, and it's really something I'm wanting to really put out there is creating boundaries for yourself. And when you create these boundaries between your work and your personal life, it really helps so you don't get engulfed by it. And so if your office space is your house, create a small area in your place that is just your wellness area. Whether that's
Mm.
you make yourself a little, whether you're spiritual, you can make yourself a little altar where you can just go and meditate in front of to help,
Mm.
clear some of that energy. Or can do ecotherapy, which is going outside and enjoying the nature. I know it's getting a little bit cooler and
Yeah,
the
we're in
weather
BC. We shouldn't be complaining.
the weather's, not so great, but at the same time, go put on some
Yeah.
rain boots and dance in the puddles.
Well, it's also about perspective too, right? So, I mean, some days I go for a walk in the rain and my whole body is tense because it's cold and the rain's just like hitting me and then my jaw's clenched but it's the other day I kind of gave myself perspective. I'm like, you know what? This rain could be refreshing. And I took off my hood and I was listening to music and then I just, accepted the rain, right? And it's all, perspective is a huge part of it too, right?
Yeah, or just throwing on some cozy pajamas, getting cuddly underneath a blanket, and reading a good book that completely shut off your mind. Yeah.
So it's kind of like you gotta make a habit
You gotta
of
make
looking
time for
after
it.
yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, like we can't tell people exactly what to do because every person is different.
Mm-hmm.
And but make a habit to take some time during your day, every day, and try not to change that time as well. Like put it in your calendar or
Mm-hmm.
I
Create a self-care routine for yourself where you do shut off your social media, your phone for a certain
and
amount
the
of time.
news.
And
We
the
don't,
news.
yeah,
Especially the
we don't want to know
Yeah.
about Trump or COVID anymore.
Mm-mm.
Enough.
Mhm.
We need something new.
Amen.
I don't even
Give
watch
us
the
like,
news.
I don't know, new music releases or something happy.
Mhm. I don't watch the news in the morning anymore
That's
because
good.
it was
Yeah.
creating a lot of this anxiety and unknown. So now I'll play a game or I'll do something that's complete opposite of what the news
Yeah.
is. Something bright, something joyful, and that allows me to rejuvenate for the day.
I tell you what I read about, and it's true, but I cannot get myself to do it. I mean, sometimes I do. Is they always say don't read your emails first thing. Like, like don't. I used to kind of wake up, right? I have the phone in the bedroom, but it's not on because I don't want the noise and the radiation or whatever. But the moment I just open my eyes before just getting out of bed, I used to just switch my phone on, and I would be telling myself, just have a quick look at my email. It doesn't work. You read something in your email that needs a response, your mind will start thinking about the response, and then before you know it, you're responding to one email, then another, and here goes 1 hour. You're on your phone in your bed, you haven't even got up to go brush your teeth or whatever, and you haven't had your breakfast, and that's bad. So now I just kick the phone out of the room completely so that I don't do this anymore. And at least you can get up, do your morning routine, and relax a little bit before you start your working day. And it doesn't matter what time of the day is it, but it's before you do anything else. Just give yourself the time to breathe, brush your teeth, wash your face, do your morning routine, make your coffee, whatever it is, and don't spend an hour and a half, because I've done that too.
No, Kaylin's so right with the boundaries, creating boundaries. I had
Yeah.
to do the same thing. I had to create the boundaries for myself because being a workaholic, I wanted to reply to every email as soon as
As soon as it
possible.
comes. Yeah.
Especially like with my sales background, it's just like, if you hit it sooner, you can create more targets later, right? And it's definitely when you create those boundaries, though, it gives you a better, like, you're a better person in the long run because you've been able to focus on yourself and create a better you. And then when you do get around to it, you're more focused because you've had that time to let your mind rest, right? So no, it's so important, and a lot of people don't know how to do that, especially with COVID right now.
Yeah. Make yourself a priority.
That's a perfect message, actually. Make yourself a priority. So you're not good for your customers if you're not good for yourself. Like, if you're not feeling well for any reason, and sometimes you're not feeling well, we all have these pressures of life, right? Sometimes you're not feeling well because you put yourself in that position because you didn't look after yourself, and that's not a good thing. I do understand that sometimes stress comes from different sources. You're not always in control of that, but at least the stuff that you're in control of, try to make your life easier. And this is, I try, like, sometimes I can't say no to a good meeting with a customer or a prospect customer, and sometimes they want to have this Zoom call at 9 a.m. But now, like, I mean, sometimes I say yes, but in almost most cases, there's no bookable time slot on my calendar that starts before 10:30. Because between 9 and 10:30, even if I'm working, I don't want to be on call at that time. I don't want to be on Zoom where I have to look at the camera and smile and whatever. Like, maybe I take this time to strategize. Maybe I take this time to, I'm work on the stuff that needs quiet, like a quiet environment. Planning my day or planning my week, especially Monday morning. There's no way I'll be available for a meeting Monday between 9 and 12 at least, because that's like how I set the rest of the week to go. And I try not to do this on the weekend because the weekend is a weekend.
And that's a great boundary to make because, as much as we want to succeed and build our business and to be successful, we'll experience burnout if we're not making ourselves a priority.
Yes,
exactly.
And then, like you said, you're not going to be 100% for your consumer or your clients or anyone who's using your services. And that also not only affects your business and your success, but also starts affecting your family and your home life and stress and anger and so many things that we react, how we react to those things, to burnout. Well, it just comes and it seeps into every part of our life. So, that's why I really, really emphasize like self-care, especially for entrepreneurs who are wanting to build and be successful. We want to be full steam ahead, but at the same time, like, you're gonna crash and burn if you don't take care of yourself.
You could think of it like the warm up before a game, like for anyone who plays sports. Like, if you don't warm up properly, you're gonna get in the game and get injured.
Yes.
You won't be the best version.
You won't be
of yourself.
playing for a few weeks just because you skipped the 20-minute warm up that was. And this has happened to me, of course. Like, in my age, if I don't warm up, I'm dead in the game.
Yeah. And that's a great metaphor. Like, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah, one way or another. And like, you won't be as good for the rest of the team, right? Like, they rely on you, so you have to do your best. And it's the same thing for your customers. They rely on you, so you have to be at your best. And if it means that you're going to start working, I don't know, half an hour later on one day, be it. It doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur as well. Like, you control your calendar, right? I mean, I'm not saying be lazy, but I'm saying, like, don't give yourself, don't burn yourself out quickly enough thinking that that's the best way. And I think some of it is born from the culture of hustle, hustle, hustle. And you can hustle, but in a nicer way.
Yeah. And
to yourself and your clients.
Exactly. Yeah. And that could be just like turning your phone off for 30 minutes during your lunch break.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I do this now. I mean, it took me some time to understand this message, and now I do it, and I try to get, even my kids to do this. Like, if you're sitting down to eat lunch, why are you on your phone checking your social media?
Mm-hmm.
You're eating lunch. Lunch is lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eat it faster, then go on social media. It's still half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Do 15 minutes of eat only, and then 15 minutes of social media, rather than half an hour of both. That will actually eventually extend to an hour. And now you've wasted the whole hour. You didn't enjoy your lunch. I don't know.
I think nowadays everybody's getting used to being overstimulated too by
Yeah.
multitasking, and because everything's so much easier that you're used to trying to multitask even more.
You're always connected.
Exactly. Always connected, and you just keep going because it's always readily available for you, right? So it's taking that time to have a break and actually eat your lunch, separate the two different things, enjoy them one thing at a time, right? So
This brings me actually to co-working,
Mhm.
like the idea of co-working, because you need that time at least once a week. For me, like it provides a different scenery, and I believe that I'm more focused. Like, I don't want to be in an office. This is the thing. This is how I see it. I don't want to be in an office 5 days a week. That's a bit too much. Like, I come from the corporate world, and I was used to it when I worked for companies. You're in the office every day from 9 to 5 or 9 to 7 or whatever. If you're a workaholic, you're probably there even
the
after
time.
5.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then when you work from home and you're always working from home, there's a lot of distractions. Like, even if no one is at home with you. Like, my wife is at work, my kids are at school, I'm home alone practically. I just have the cat, and that's a distraction. But I find that the kitchen is a distraction. Like, you're working on something important, and you feel like, I'm gonna get up and make one more coffee. I'm gonna, I don't know, just rearrange something, or take the laundry out of the dryer, or something that's absolutely not important. What you're working on is more important, but you find these distractions. When you change your scenery and you work from an office at least once a week, I find that I'm more focused when I come here. And I don't know, what have you heard from other members? Like, what's the chief reason for people to join a co-working space, apart from the networking part, which is great? What else?
Well, honestly, me, for example, like, we had this gorgeous space during the lockdown, and I have a 2.5-year-old
Yeah,
at
they're on
home.
time.
Yeah, yeah, I had a 2.5-year-old, yeah, at home, and just being a workaholic, I was constantly just replying to emails, making connections on my phone, working on my phone. We went through, I don't know, it felt like we are going through years of trying to get off of our devices and everything, right? But this year has been kind of putting us all back on them. But it was more of the separation between, like, making your home, because when you can't when you're at your office, you can't leave to go to your comfortable home, right? You're still at work, still getting messages,
Yeah,
still
true.
answering things, right? You can't give yourself, I feel like you can't give yourself the proper self-care, or, like, separate your work from home. You need that balance, right? So I find a lot of people coming in here are craving that balance, to where they can, there's this new full commute that everybody's doing, where
Mm.
you leave to come back, just to have that moment of time where you can clear your brain. But going to a co-working space, that really helps with that, because you can actually go have your work at work, go home, have your home life, be with your family,
Yeah.
not have
Disconnect
work
from
as a
work.
distraction,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
yeah, that's a huge reason why people use co-working, and they like the office environment. They like to, separate themselves from their family every once in a while, to talk and meet other people, and grow their business as well, because you can collaborate with people, work on your websites, your marketing, and focus on your business, and have other opportunities to have help from other people, right? So yeah,
Yeah, it's a good way to meet people, and we're all socially distanced here. Like,
Mhm.
look, it's 2 meters or more.
Yeah. We're-
Otherwise, we'd be wearing masks.
Yeah.
But and we can't show the audience the full space, but it's huge, and the desks are already socially distanced.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so
it's a great way to meet new people. Especially in your community, in your local community. You don't have to go downtown Vancouver
Mhm.
anymore and jump on the SkyTrain and spend, I don't know, 40 minutes.
And you have your network as your bubble too, right? And being a 7,000 square foot space, it makes it super easy to have a socially distanced network. Which
Did you
is
say 7,000?
7,000?
Oh, we can play soccer here.
Right?
Game night.
Where'd all the desks go?
Break all the glass. And I haven't tried the new couches yet.
They're actually really comfortable.
They're very-
They took forever to get here. We ordered them in like July.
So that's self-care.
Yeah.
Come to the co-working space, spend 10 minutes on the couch with your favorite book or listening to music, and you'll be done for the day.
Way to link that up.
An awesome
That
coffee.
is self care. Yeah.
And awesome coffee.
I mean,
Yeah, actually, the coffee from the instant coffee machine
yeah.
is quite tasty. I mean, usually I don't like those coffees that
Mhm.
like where the milk isn't milk, well, the milk
Yeah.
is powder. But
Yeah.
this is the taste is great. So shout out at the guys who restock that thing.
Anytime Coffee.
Oh, it's called
Reg-
Anytime
Yes,
Coffee.
it's Rajiva Anytime Coffee. He's actually a family-run business as well. It's with him, and he gets his daughter to come in with him
Oh,
every once in
nice.
a while to help, upgrade and keep the machine in working order. And yeah, the machine actually grinds the coffee fresh for every pour as well. So yeah, that's why it's so
You
fresh
can
and
have
tasty.
You can have a fresh espresso shot. It's delicious.
Now it's almost like we want to go outside, grab the coffee, and come back in. You mentioned something about work on your website, and I know that I've asked this before, but let's do it on camera because I know both of you are working on your websites yourselves. And yeah, I can see the laugh. Okay, Erin, tell us how many hours you spent on your website so far, from the time it was an idea till, I wouldn't say till today because that would be unfair because, for everyone, you have to continue working on your website. But I wanted to know from the idea phase till you had a website that you launched, the first version of it, how many hours roughly have you spent?
Being that I started working on our website before we actually had the physical space, growing into having the physical space and still working on the website, it was quite a few hours. I would say close to 100 hours at least. Because it became my full-time job for a little while, networking and building our website. So yeah, and I used Wix, and at first I started off with templates, super quick templates, and found they were definitely not enough for my needs. And being the niche co-working space we are, we needed bookings and everything else that Wix did do, but it was also lacking in quite a few places as well. But I moved over to the editor version of Wix, which was a lot more flexible for my needs. But that being said, after leaving the template version, it was a whole new world, and I had to relearn the entire system to build the website that we have now. So that was a huge transition and very.
So there is a learning curve because
Yes.
some people think of Wix as it's so easy to start,
Mhm.
and I don't want to spend time learning something that will take me a long time to master. So I go with Wix because it's everything is there and it's template based. But in your experience, that the templates were not enough for what you were trying to do, and you ended up getting a blank slate and doing it on your own, right?
Pretty much.
And there is a learning curve to that. So I'm not saying this to discourage people from Wix. I'm just saying if you're thinking that I'm going to go with Wix because I don't want to learn, you're wrong. Because there's still, for any tool that you use, guys, there's still some learning curve that you need to do. So there's no hands-off experience apart from the first thing that you do, like when you go select a template, click, and maybe you put your logo, a nice image of yourself, and a couple of paragraphs, and you're done. Yeah, like that's the starting point to realize the idea and take it online. Which takes me to Kaylin, because you're on Wix as well,
Yes.
and you probably didn't need to do booking and all the stuff at the beginning, right?
No. So, same as Erin, I started out with a template, and it, I tried to do as much as I could with that very simple template, and I know, like, I actually went home and I calculated how much actual time I spent on this website, and I probably spent about 2 to 3 hours a night for about a month
Wow.
in July. June, July.
Can we do the math? So if we say, like, I don't know, 20
Only
working days in a
60
month
hours,
times
yeah.
2-3 hours, that's about 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did something with it every day. There was something I was doing with it. And then I found the editor that I didn't know existed.
You discovered there's an editor.
I discovered there was an editor and then completely changed it all. And completely changed everything. And then I spent a good probably about 5-6 hours one night just playing with that and doing stuff on that. My husband's a gamer, so he they really didn't even know that I was working, so he's good. But like, so I spent a lot of time doing that, and then every day again I was doing something, fidgeting, moving something, and then again, just recently,
Still going.
I got a free website audit,
Yeah.
and literally after that audit, again, I changed.
You had to change everything.
I changed
Yeah.
everything to try and just maximize my website, and then I just spent like 2 hours of it a couple of weeks ago again. So
No, but that's good actually, because like everyone needs to understand that a website is, I call it a living organism. It's like having a
is.
pet.
Yeah. Yes.
You know,
It
it's a
needs maintenance.
bad
you're so
analogy,
right.
but
no, I think it works.
it's not a set it and forget it thing, because your business, you evolve. Like as a person, you learn new things and you evolve and you study stuff and you get certified in more, specialties. And as such, your business itself is growing, and as you have more customers and more interactions with customers, you get ideas to go and do some changes, maybe offer a new service, or maybe you want to focus on something, or you have an event coming that you want to put on your homepage for now, until after the event, and then you move it and put some. So there's always something happening. So if people think their website is stale, set it and forget it, and like, is something to give to the IT department, that will not work. It has to be, you have to always, especially if you're a small business owner, like maybe large companies, they might have different teams looking after different parts of their website. But in my experience, for a solo entrepreneur, especially at the time of COVID now, you'll be living on your website. Like there's always something happening. What do you recommend, guys? Like how should people approach that part? Would you set some time aside weekly to work on the website, or as the idea jumps in your head, you drop everything and you go update the site?
Well, now I recommend scheduling some time aside.
Scheduling some time aside, okay.
And not do what I was doing, because I was spending all my free self-care time that I should be doing working on that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I did experience a little bit of a burnout regarding my website, and so I haven't gone into it and actually edited anything recently, because I needed to take a break and step away from it. I'm also in a transitioning phase of like transitioning it over to WordPress, actually. So I just decided, I'm like, since that's transitioning, I'm not even gonna bother looking at it right now.
So yeah, I mean one of my episodes, I think it's episode number 6, which went live this week. I was
saw
speaking.
that.
You saw that, yeah. And Andrea, who was my guest on that episode, she's also I used to call her the Squarespace queen, because she was on Squarespace for her business, and she's also helping her clients get their websites up and running as fast as possible. And as a start, they've all used Squarespace. And now she's worked with WordPress before, and now she wants to make the move back for her own business, one of her 2 sites or 3 sites. Maybe she has more, I don't know. Sorry, Andrea, I can't remember what you told me. But one of the sites, she wants to move back completely to WordSpace, because what she wants to do with it, to WordPress. Did I say WordSpace? Our editor will remove that. The WordPress, because what she wants to do on Squarespace, it doesn't do. So it's a great idea when you're starting off, when you have an idea of a business, or if you're a new business and you have a lot of time at hand, to start your website with one of these page builder networks, because the barrier to entry is very low, the cost is low, you're paying monthly, so you don't really feel that you're spending much money on it, and you have the time. You can give the 60 hours or the 100 hours or more. But as your business grows and you grow and you have more clients, and of course you start making money, you realize that in order to service your clients, you need something a little bit more powerful, and something like, I wouldn't say specifically WordPress. I mean, it's a biased opinion because I love WordPress. It's not a secret, but I would say moving away from the traditional hosted page builders, because you're using their network. And if there's something that you want, they haven't built yet, you're stuck. Like with WordPress, it's open source, so it's always evolving. B, you have so many WordPress experts around the world, local in our community and online in other countries, who can help you. And the rates might be like not expensive, like very reasonable rates. And if there's something that you still want on WordPress and you find that it doesn't do it by default, the plugins, like there's tons of plugins that you can use that will extend the functionality of WordPress and make it do what you want it to do. The key is there is a learning curve, as we've just established with Wix as well, right? So in your experience, you said like what? I don't want to spend, I don't know, another 20 hours learning Wix because I know it's not doing what I want it to do. I'll spend those 20 hours with something else that will do what I want. Was that the rationale behind the move?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't feel like I got the opportunity to be able to switch over and to have someone help me with that switch. And being able to see what the potential could be like, it really was enticing. And so yeah, essentially I do want my website to be successful and to look good and to be exactly what I want.
And you're not scared that, I mean, a lot of people say WordPress is more complicated. I certainly don't think it is, but you're not scared of that it's more complicated. Plus, you still have to have hosting alone, and you still have to do the regular updates and upgrades of the framework itself in order to keep it running fast and safely, and to have it secure.
I figured it's worth it. It's worth learning. It's worth kind of learning more about it. And as I get more successful and like things, more clients, then I could just hire someone to do that for me.
Perfect.
to do the updating and all that. But
Erin, do you know anyone who can help her with WordPress? I don't.
I know this great guy. His name is Amr. But
okay.
My recommendation is, if it were me, it depends on who it is, where you are. For me, WordPress was very intimidating, and I wasn't planning on hiring anybody else to help me with my website at the moment, because I did have the time to learn something new. But WordPress seemed just a little bit more, not as, I honestly can't even remember trying it, but I remember with Wix.
What was the scary part?
I honestly don't even remember going to try it. I just remember reading up on it and it being a bit more technical than say Wix. Like for example, when you can just jump into the template, and I found that the template being a new business, I didn't know exactly what my website needed either at that moment, right? So it was more like going with the flow and seeing how my website could develop and what I needed along the way, right? Whereas I honestly couldn't even compare WordPress because I found it too intimidating for some reason. I can't remember what it was, but yeah. So if it were me now, I would probably, with the time that I don't have, I would probably
Hire someone to do it on WordPress.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
I would definitely hire out for a WordPress website as well. And being where we are too, it depends on how much time. Time is so like critical for business owners. Like right now, if it was like I just recently revamped all of our membership plans, that I had to do it immediately right away myself, right? Because I wanted to implement them like that day.
On the spot.
Exactly,
Yes.
because I didn't want to be selling old memberships that were less,
Yeah,
you know.
and you don't want to wait to speak to a professional to get it done, which will take a few days. Like at
Exactly.
most, even if you have somebody
to explain
helping
what it
you a
is.
lot,
Yeah.
and they're ready and they have the time,
Mhm.
it would take at least like a day or two.
Mhm.
So you want to be able to log in and get it done on your own.
Exactly.
And that's available on all the technologies that are used. Like WordPress can do it,
Yeah.
Wix, Squarespace, Weebly, and all the others.
Yeah.
But it depends. I think for me, for example, like I've been using WordPress from 2010. And that's one of the reasons I keep telling people that it's the best thing that you can use for your website. But the scariest moment happened when I switched to a new framework that is on top of WordPress. It's the theme. I use something called Divi, which is one of the biggest and the best themes on WordPress. But the first time I installed Divi and I went back to look at the page, I had a blank white page. Like I could see my menus on top, blank, 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 and then like there was like a footer down there, and that was it. I was like, oh my god, it's a blank slate.
Yeah.
And it's hands-free, you can do whatever you like. But since I've just installed this theme for the first time, I didn't know where to go to get the stuff that I want to do. Like it was a little bit of an experience learning all the bits and pieces to learn Divi. Luckily, and this was something that I didn't know at the time as well, Divi themselves, they like, it's called the owner or the makers of Divi, they're called Elegant Themes. And Elegant Themes, they have a lot of ready-made layouts. But when I installed Divi for the first time, I didn't even know where to go to find those. They're like templates as well. So you choose, you say, for example, I'm an accountant. You click and it will just install an accountant page with all the icons and everything. And now it's up to you to change the images, put your own images, and then put your own text. But at least it has the color, all the colors, and you can change them and everything. And it has the icons. And you're free to use them, like, because it comes with the Elegant Themes license. So it certainly makes life easier. And if you're going to do your website on your own, and you're not hiring somebody to do it at the moment, for example, you can just use one of the ready-made layouts. And it's kind of like, it makes WordPress easier in general, and it makes it a little bit like the ease of use that you see when you're starting out on Wix. Because it's the template, they just call it a layout, but it's a template.
Yeah.
It's a template base. I don't know, are you using Divi or using another theme, or you don't know yet?
I believe it is Divi.
It's Divi.
Yeah, and it was funny because I did check out WordPress before I went to Wix, and what I thought about it was the fact that literally it is just a blank page. It's just like
it's
white.
like, doesn't look as beautiful as the stuff they show you on.
I don't even know where to start from here, and I just found it super intimidating in that way, where I'm just like this just blank white page.
I'm gonna say to people, if they're checking out Wix, go and check out the Fountainhead Network. Is it thefountainheadnetwork.com, right? Because it's not because Erin is here, but it's gotta be one of the best sites that I've ever seen on Wix. Because usually the kind of sites that I see on Wix, they look like you've given your website to your kids to play with, and they just throw in some pictures and some text that doesn't have any relation to anything.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few websites that look good, that don't look like as childish as that, but I haven't seen a website that looked businessy and corporatey on Wix more than like
Yeah.
our website here, thefountainheadnetwork.com. So
Thank you. Thank you.
the 100 hours, I think it's more like now that like
It's probably a lot more. Let's be real.
the 100 hours worked, but I don't think you have another 100 hours to do.
I didn't count in the hours from the other day.
Yesterday or the day before. or-
Exactly. Yeah.
I seriously thought she did pay someone to create her website.
Yeah, she paid
But-
Erin. Yeah, she paid
Yeah.
herself.
Yes.
Being self-employed,
Yeah.
that's exactly what
It,
happened.
it's a good thing that you're not.
Would not recommend.
It's a good thing that you're not a counselor whose hour is like I don't know $100 an hour or something. Because if you calculate that, your website would have costed
A lot.
I don't know like a
A lot of
zillion,
money. Yeah,
10K
too much.
maybe. Yeah, I think it would be 10K or more.
I don't think my website would be worth it.
Like if you hired someone to do it, they wouldn't have charged you that
Mm.
10K. Like
No.
you probably would have paid
Exactly.
between 3 and 5K
Mhm.
and got to the same result that you have right now.
Mhm.
Without the pain, but the good gain is the learning experience. Because I think
Exactly.
with you as a business owner doing it yourself,
Mhm.
you not only learned about how to use Wix, but you learned about marketing online generally, like with all the ins and outs and how to, I don't know, link your pages to be shared on social media, how to integrate something like your mailing program like MailChimp or whatever you're using.
Yeah, you actually have, I feel like when you are designing a website, you need to have marketing experience. Like you need to know what buttons will make people want to click, to go further into your site and how to make it enticing enough to where, you're focusing on the needs of your clients and everything, right? Where you're not just trying to sell your product, you're trying to aim at what they need, right? So it's developing a website is even more than just being techie, right? You have to know what your clients want as well, right?
Mhm.
Especially, and what makes them comfortable using your website, and to learn about your products as well. So yeah.
So I feel like there's this is the other thing that we've discussed in episode 6, Andrea and I, is the back end and the front end. So the best approach is just you can give that back end to a professional. Back end, by back end I mean the hosting configuration. Like you go and buy hosting from, let's say, I don't know, SiteGround, for example. You're paying $14.99 a month, right? But you brought in your website and you started playing with it and you installed WordPress and you started the design and it's looking good, but you haven't actually looked if that hosting environment is properly configured for speed, security, and these are not things that you want to play with. Like if you get it wrong, you'll be hacked or your website will be too slow. Like you don't want to spend your time playing with this. Just give this to a professional, let them look at your configuration of the hosting and your WordPress itself, like with, have a proper security plugin there. Do not use the username administrator ever or admin or your own name, Think of it this way, security wise, if somebody's trying to hack your website, they need to have two things, a username and a password. Don't give them one of the two. It's as simple as that. Don't make the username your name or your business name or admin. Just, choose like whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say mine because people will know, but but it's not Amr and it's not admin. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So at least make it harder, like a password that's complex and it's hard to break or guess. Not your kid's birthday or your dog's name. And I know both, by the way.
I think everybody does.
And so this is the part that like you kind of let someone else take care so that you can focus on serving your customers online, on finding out, if I put this membership package like in a prominent space on my home page, would that be better than actually it being hidden in an inside page that's called packages? Or what do I put on my, like what call to action would I put on my, I don't know why they call it the hero area. I learned it like this when I studied design, which is like a big header, like the main nice area before you scroll down,
Mm-hmm.
which usually has like a nice image and some text and a button to click.
Mm-hmm.
The hero, I don't know, maybe it's the hero area of the website. I probably need to ask another web designer. Josh, it will be a question to my good old friend Josh Hall. But yeah, so you put so things like that. Making sure that if you're drawing traffic to your website, the website is ready for it. Infrastructure wise, like it's on a fast hosting, it reacts quickly, it doesn't take forever, to load. And if there's many people on the website at the same time, it's not going to break. So you're not on one of those like mega cheap $199 hosting packages. And the other part is making sure it converts. So there's a place for them to take action. They can click, they can give you their email, maybe they want to download, I don't know, like something from the website, or maybe they want to check out, maybe they want to book for Erin, for example, maybe they want to book a tour. They want to come and see the place. And with COVID, you can't have everyone coming at the same time. So you need to give them time slots. So there must be a calendar there that, things like that. Instead of worrying about how do I update this plugin. There is auto update, of course. Like you can, with WordPress, I'm going to be shooting myself in the foot because I always tell people hire a professional to take care of the backend. And it's true because it's a business. When you're running a business, if it's a personal website, put it on auto, everything auto, and let it be, right? But what happens sometimes, WordPress would have an update, and then some of the plugins that you're using, the plugin maker didn't yet make an update to work with the new WordPress version. So things break, right? So that's why we say hire a professional. We know how to get around these things. We know how to update a few bits and pieces and leave one, because if you update that specific one, it might break the look and feel of the site. And we know where to go and, how to contact the plugin maker and say like, hey, we're using the latest WordPress in Divi, but your plugin is not keeping up. What's your advice? Is there like a piece of code that you until you release your own update or something like that? You don't want to be wasting time with that. You want to be spending the time on the front end part, making things work for your clients. So, with that, I have to say thank you very much. And we have to actually do a little bit of self-care. So, have our lunch today, or
Yeah, it's Friday. Trying to drink more beer and go see my baby.
yeah, pizza and beer. So thank you for being here. I'm gonna put the links to both websites underneath, in the notes, in the episode notes.
Thanks, Amr.
Thank you so much.
Always
Have
a
a great
pleasure to
day.
be a guest on your podcast.
Thank you.
It was fantastic. And as my now sort of first podcast, it was making me a natural.
I agree. We're all naturals here. Have a great day, guys.
You too,
Thanks.
Amr.